Hey guys, what's up, potential vegan community or plant-based foodies, transitioning vegans, vegetarians, or future vegan friends? I'm seriously so excited to be launching this weekly live video series. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So my Vegan Girl Diaries, weekly episodes covering so many topics about my lifestyle that I've been asked about a lot. I've received so many messages over the past few months, so I am finally super excited to be doing this. And I was thinking about what I wanted this first video to cover, and since I just got back from an Alaskan cruise with my family and I received a ton of requests when I was on there about, okay, Lauren, how are you surviving? What are you eating? What are you asking for? And just how I basically survived 10 days in the middle of the ocean with a lack of produce. I thought I would just go into that before I completely forget about the whole experience. But before I dive in, I do have a photo album on my personal Facebook page that I just document a lot of my vegan travel adventures. That is on my photo album. If you click that, I kind of have where I've eaten in the past, where it is in the future, all that stuff, like restaurants to go to. And I did make a YouTube video about my top 5 vegan travel tips, which was really cool. It's a very unique experience when you're traveling vegan. So as I'm talking, as you guys are hopping on, feel free to post questions. I don't know if I'll be able to see them. Hi, Celia, I can't see that. Okay, so feel free to hop on, engage, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll go back after because I do get distracted really easily. I'm like a squirrel. So I can just stay on topic as much as I can because I have some notes because I don't want to miss anything, okay? All right, so first of all, I kind of want to give some background. I have been a solid vegan for about 1.5 years now, which is pretty crazy, but I haven't eaten meat since I was 13. So that's 13 years. I'm 26, and I was vegan for 2 years in high school. I would say maybe like 1.5 years, but I was basically a carbitarian. I was super, super unhealthy. I would eat all of the fake cheese and like the, fake meats and stuff, and I was just not, I didn't know what I was doing, and I feel like a lot of us get stuck there. So that's what I'm here for. And what made me make that switch, again, in the beginning of 2016 was the animals, of course. And I had no idea, and I feel like a lot of us don't, how bad the dairy industry is. I think it's honestly worse than the meat industry, and I just did a lot of research and enough was enough. And I didn't want to contribute to animal cruelty anymore. That is my personal opinion, and it's just completely unnecessary. So I went vegan, and I didn't make this long, drawn out transition. It was not hard for me when I already knew the facts, right? I could not look back. So I get a lot of questions of, have you ever had second thoughts? Hey Katrina, have you ever had second thoughts about going vegan? And honestly, not once. You can't unsee the things that I've seen. So anyway, on a little happier note, I went on my first cruise with my mom the same year that I went vegan. So I was a little bit nervous, but it was a tropical cruise and it was on Royal Caribbean. It was fully paid for and I was super pumped. I did struggle a bit because I was a brand new vegan and most of the food they served was like full of animal products. You know, if you've been on a cruise before, it's a lot of soups, which are full of cream and dairy, and there's just animal products everywhere, like burger bars, pizza bars. It's like a vegan's nightmare a little bit. So I discovered though the last day, of course it was the last day on my trip. Hey Karen, the last day there was a juice bar, like in the spa area, which totally could have saved me, but I didn't go to it until the last day. So that's something to look into if you're on a cruise, by the spa, ask if they have a juice bar. But because it was a cruise full of health coaches, there was a special menu every single night, which was awesome. So I had a lot of delicious stir fries. There was like salad, fruit, pizza bar that made cheeseless pizza for me. So that was really cool. I brought my superfoods, a lot of vegan protein bars, and that helped a lot. But this trip to Alaska was a little bit different. I didn't think it was going to be very difficult because I'm like, oh, I've done this before, it's all good. But it was a different cruise line. So it kind of threw me for a loop. And also, this was not a health coach cruise. So I definitely had a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every single night. But I want to give you some top tips that if you're going on a cruise, you're plant-based, or honestly, even if you just eat clean or you want to eat clean, this is kind of what I gleaned from being on a cruise to help you navigate cruise food and kind of get around things, okay? So number 1 is to tell them ahead of time that you are allergic to dairy. I know I've said this multiple times on different videos, but trust me, they're going to take you much more seriously if you're like, hey, I'm actually allergic to this. Please do not give it to me. Tell the cruise director person, or you could put this in your cruise planner that you have under dietary needs online. You get it ahead of time, you can set it up, that you have food allergies, and they'll basically tell you where to eat and where not to eat. So that's number 1. Tell them ahead of time. Number 2, when you go to the dining room every night, because when you're on a cruise, I don't know if you guys know this, you pick a time to dine and you go to the dining room and they have like a beautiful set menu. It's super fancy. It's really fun. So I got to do that every night with my family. But what you can do, and they tell you to do this too, that you need to ask for the maitre d' and like kind of like the head waiter of your section, and they'll be alerted ahead of time of your nutritional needs, what you can and can't eat. And what I did every single night was I had like my own dude, which is pretty cool. He would come over to me with the menu for the next night, and I would just kind of ask him to veganize the vegetarian dish. And I had quite a bit of Indian food. It was so cool. There was like an authentic Indian chef there, and he made me a lot of really great Indian dishes, but kind of had a lot of the same things every night. It was, well, actually the Indian food was really good. I had like cauliflower, lentils, a lot of beans and rice, and they made me tofu and veggies, but they tempura'd the tofu one time. It was not good. So you just have to tell them how you want it to be cooked. I had a lot of veggie stir fries, steamed veggies, basically a lot of the same thing, but I asked them for different things so I wouldn't get super bored. So if you're at the dining room, you could be like, hey, make sure you don't cook it in butter, or ask for marinara sauce on the side so it gives you a little bit of a flavor. So he would take my order every night, which was super convenient, and it didn't make me feel like I was kind of like an outsider. You know, he'd kind of come over to me privately and it was way easier. But that was really the only place in the entire cruise ship I knew was completely vegan. My stomach did hurt some nights because I really think there was cross-contamination. You kind of are gonna have that happen if you're on a cruise or just on vacation. So just make sure to tell them that you don't eat butter. Oh my gosh. So there's like buffets and everything, and they tell you to like make sure you talk to the chef. They're the only people who know what's in the food. And I had to be like, hey, does this have dairy in it? And they'd be like, no. And then I'd be like, does it have butter? And they'd be like, yes. I'm like, butter is dairy, man. Butter is dairy. So that was kind of a little bit defeating, but it's okay. So the dining room I had pretty good meals, but just make sure you tell them you don't eat butter. Be super polite about what you do and don't eat, because then they'll be very accommodating. 3, eat whenever you can. And I mean this in the best way possible. And I don't mean like overindulge, but eat all the fruit, all the fresh fruit, the greens, the salads, and that's basically all we can have at the buffet. There was a burger bar that had veggie burgers, but always ask, and this is a huge tip because I feel like not enough people know this, a lot of veggie burgers have egg whites in them. That's like the binding thing on the outside. So when you go to a restaurant, unless it's all vegan, if it's they'll say it's vegetarian. So make sure to ask, is there egg whites in this, or is it completely dairy free? They would always cook mine separately in a separate pan, but that goes the same for restaurants. You make sure you wanna ask that ahead of time. Ask if they're egg free, because again, most time, they're not. Even at the store, make sure you're looking at the back. Like a lot of Boca burgers are not vegan. Number 4, bring snacks. I know this is really easy. This goes for any type of travel, but bring snacks like granola bars, superfoods. That's honestly what saved me. Nuts. Like I had my own oats and granola bag that was really good to munch on. It's from Whole Foods. I have it on my Snapchat. I've been posting about it a lot. It's amazing, and I just had that with like a vegan protein bar. Vega is actually my favorite, and Square Bar. Love Square Bar. Number 5, when you're at the ports, because you know cruises take you to different destinations, especially if you're on a cruise where they're known for fish and only fish and lobster and crab and things you do not eat. Google ahead of time where you can physically eat. And it was really tough for me. I had to buy like the biggest Wi-Fi package because one, it's my job and I work online, but I also wanted to look ahead of time where I could eat at some of the ports. A lot of times they weren't even Googleable, if that's a term, because it was in the middle of nowhere. But I also love the app Happy Cow. Again, it was the middle of nowhere, so I really couldn't look at it that much. But try to look at what you can physically eat on the menu. I kind of survived on hummus. That was really good at one restaurant. Salads, and kind of just like beer and bread, honestly. So it was basically a balance between survival and whatever veggies that they served at that restaurant. The best port that I went to for food, if fellow Canadians are on here, I went to Victoria, BC in Canada, and it was awesome. I was just kind of like walking around the streets, and all of my family was like, Lauren, we found a acai bowl place. And then it's like, we found a vegan buffet. And I'm like, hell yes. So I just like took off and went there, and it was amazing. And it was just like this vegan buffet, and it was like 10 days of no normal food that I usually eat. So it was awesome. And I had like, I don't know, lentils and juice and even like this amazing vegan brownie, but it was awesome. Especially when you have a regimented lifestyle, when you eat certain foods consistently, it's hard to travel. It's hard to kind of go off that because you feel really weird, right? Okay, so that was awesome to have a vegan buffet. But those are my 5 tips on how to survive as a vegan on a cruise, or kind of just wherever you decide to go, or if you eat clean. But also, and last tip, the cruise had, and this was Princess Cruises, they had a room service menu which had a really good veggie sandwich, and they also had PB&J. So always check there too. Check everywhere. Always ask questions. You're not being annoying. This is their job. Talk to the maitre d'. Let them know ahead of time. Always get the fruit and salads whenever you can. Plan ahead, get snacks, get the app, and if you have any questions about vegan travel tips, including that app that I talked about, it's in my latest YouTube video. So if you just search Lauren McHugh on YouTube, it'll pop up. It's like my top 5 vegan travel tips. But if you guys have any specific questions that you would like answered in one of my upcoming episodes, just be sure to comment below. And I guess I'll just see you guys next time on my next episode of Vegan Girl Diaries. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in, and I will talk to you guys next week.